You can't park that here. This isn't a garage. It's a charging station for leftist junk. That's what she said. Right before calling a tow truck to remove my fully registered HOA-approved electric vehicle from my driveway. I wish I were joking, but I've got the footage. And the footage doesn't lie. We moved to Brook Hollow Ridge for the quiet, for the cul-de-sac, for the solar panels and bird feeders and those little dog bag stations every 50 feet. My wife called it a Pinterest neighborhood. I called it finally affordable. We hadn't even unpacked our last move-in box when we got our first letter. Typed, folded, unsmiling. Please note that the exterior color of your electric vehicle is a shade of red that does not fall within the HOA's approved color palette for driveway exposure. I showed it to my wife. She blinked twice. Wait, they're color-matching cars now? That was my first run-in with Karen Miles, HOA president. She showed up 2 days later. Clipboard, sunglasses, shirt tucked into yoga pants like she was on patrol. She didn't knock. She hovered. Excuse me, are you the homeowner? Yep. Not that's your vehicle? You mean my car? That. She pointed with the kind of disgust usually reserved for roadkill. It's not compliant. It's legal, registered, electric, quiet. It's political. It's a Hyundai. She didn't laugh. She scribbled something on her clipboard and left like she had just discovered a crime scene. I didn't think she'd escalate. I underestimated her thirst for drama. Because on day 9 of living there, I walked out to grab the mail and found a tow truck backing into my driveway. Yellow lights flashing, hook already lowering. And Karen, standing beside the driver, pointing like she was directing traffic. "Hey!" I shouted, running toward them. "What are you doing?" The tow guy looked confused. The kind of confused that comes from not expecting the actual owner of the vehicle to appear. Karen turned to me. "You've been notified. I haven't received a single violation notice." "That's not my fault." "You can't tow a private vehicle from a private driveway." "Oh, we can." Section 9, paragraph 4. Non-conforming vehicles are subject to removal if parked in view of public property. You wrote that clause, didn't you? She smirked. It passed unanimously. You were the only person who voted. Majority rule. That's when I remembered the one thing Karen didn't know. My doorbell camera sees everything. 4K resolution, wide-angle audio capture. And it had caught everything. From her whispering to the tow guy, "I don't care what he says, just take it, I'll handle it," to her opening my unlocked car door and reaching in to inspect for compliance. Eka trespassing. I walked back inside, downloaded the footage, sent it to my lawyer, the HOA board, the neighborhood Facebook group. Then I went back outside, phone in hand. "Karen," I said, holding up the video, "I think you're going to want to see this." "Delete that footage." That's what she said. As if we were in some kind of HOA spy thriller, not on my freshly swept driveway. The tow truck idled behind her. The driver looked like he wanted to crawl into the glove box. And me, I just hit play again. This time with the volume turned up. The part where she told the tow guy, "If he shows up, say you were called by the city." Played nice and clear. So did her next line. "He won't do anything. People like that just complain online." The air changed when she realized I had her on record lying about city authority and reaching into my vehicle. Even the tow guy backed up a step. "Ma'am, I didn't know. He said it was his car. He's got a title in the window." Karen's face contorted. "You're not being paid to think." "Actually," I cut in, "he's not being paid at all. Because if he moves that vehicle, I file a lawsuit." I turned to the driver. "You touch that car, you're liable. This is private property. That's unauthorized removal. And I'll subpoena this footage so fast, it'll beat your GPS." The driver shut the tow rig off. "I'm out." Karen stared at me like I'd just ended her Broadway debut. "Hey, you think you can just park whatever you want here?" "Yes," I said. "It's called a driveway. It's an eyesore. It's a fully electric certified zero-emission vehicle. It's ugly. So is this conversation." She stormed off, not before snapping a photo of my license plate and muttering something about board escalation. The tow truck pulled away, but Karen didn't retreat. She doubled down. That evening, I got hit with a $250 fine for visual disharmony and another for non-compliant vehicle design. I emailed the HOA board with the video. No reply. I emailed again. Still nothing. But I saw the read receipts. One name stood out: Patricia Lake, Vice President. She'd been silent in every HOA meeting Karen led. Now, maybe she was watching. I posted the video to the Brook Hollow Ridge Facebook group. Not with rage. Just facts. Caption: "Then here's what happened when Karen tried to tow my EV from my own driveway. HOA says it's non-compliant. The law says otherwise. Views 11K overnight. Reactions, laughing emojis, angry emojis, popcorn gifs. Then came the comments. She did this to my nephew's motorcycle last year. She fined me $75 because my Prius reflected too much sunlight. Can we vote this woman out already?" Karen replied to one thread, "This man is misrepresenting the rules. We're a community. Communities need order." Someone replied with, "Then why are you ordering tow trucks instead of talking to people?" The video got shared. By Tuesday, it was on a subreddit. By Wednesday, it hit Twitter. HOA Karen calls tow truck on electric vehicle in own driveway. Doesn't know she's on camera. Gets exposed. People were hooked. Then on Thursday, I got a knock on the door. Not Karen. Not the cops. Patricia Lake. Gray cardigan, clipboard, but no attitude. "We need to talk," she said. "Is this about the fine?" "It's about everything." She sat on my porch and looked me in the eye. The board didn't approve the tow. Karen acted alone again. Again? You're the third one this year. So why is she still president? She sighed. Because no one's ever fought her and kept their cool. She tapped the video on her phone. Until now. We're calling an emergency board meeting. That's what Patricia said. On my porch, with the clipboard on her lap like it was a shield. She didn't smile when she said it, but she didn't flinch either. And that's when I knew Karen's crown was slipping. She told me everything. How Karen had rigged the votes, held meetings without proper notice, passed motions with only herself present, wrote policies on her laptop, and claimed they were board approved. All hidden behind polite HOA language and bold font citations. You ever wonder why the violations always look like they were typed in Microsoft Word? Patricia asked. I figured it was just bad design. It's not design, it's dictatorship. The board was divided. Some feared Karen, others owed her favors. But this? The tow truck incident? That was the crack in the dam. Because it wasn't just control anymore, it was liability. And no board member wants to get sued by a guy with a doorbell cam and 40,000 Twitter views. The emergency meeting was set for Friday. Private, quiet, no neighbors invited. But I knew how to play this. I didn't crash the meeting. I leaked the agenda. At 5:13 p.m., I posted to the Facebook group. Tonight, the HOA board meets to discuss recent abuse of power, illegal enforcement actions, and unauthorized property violations. If this affects you, now's your moment. I didn't say Karen's name. I didn't need to. The post had 87 likes in an hour. By 7 p.m., the HOA clubhouse was full. Not just board members, residents. Old, young, quiet, mad, those who'd been silent for years. Some held copies of fines. Some brought phone screenshots. One guy printed out Karen's quote about my EV being a leftist junk pile and highlighted it like a Bible verse. Karen walked in late, still confident, still clipped and tidy, but her eyes darted. She saw the crowd, and she felt it. "I thought this was a closed board meeting," she said to Patricia. "It was. Then your toast stunt went viral." Karen's lips pursed. "You people are violating procedural integrity." "And you," Patricia said, "violated someone's driveway." They played the footage, start to finish, every frame, from her whispering to the driver, "Just take it, he won't fight," to her reaching into my car without permission. You could feel the air collapse in that room. Even her usual allies stared at their shoes. Then came the vote. Motion to suspend Karen Miles from all enforcement authority, pending further legal review. 7 board members. Hands raised one by one. 7 out of 7. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. Just a sharp inhale. Then silence. Then her footsteps as she left. No clipboard. No glares. Just exit. The room didn't cheer. It exhaled. Years of control, cracked and lifted like fog. People clapped slowly, then faster. Someone even cried. Patricia stood, calm but firm. "Starting Monday," she said, "we review every fine issued in the past 18 months. "And what about the EV?" someone asked. She looked at me. "It stays right where it is. That night, someone left a card on my porch. No name, just handwriting. You didn't just stand up for yourself. You stood up for all of us." There are 147 fines. Patricia looked tired, not defeated, just aware of the mess left behind. The paper stack beside her looked like a short novel, one with no plot. Just anger, citations, and $75 penalties for aesthetic violations. She'd been digging for 3 days. After Karen's suspension, the board opened the digital records. They found fines issued without signatures, rules edited mid-enforcement, even a few anonymous complaints that all traced back to the same IP address. Karen's. She'd been the judge, jury, and executioner of Brook Hollow Ridge, until a red Hyundai cracked her system. I wasn't alone in getting payback. There was Mr. Kaplan fined $200 for a lawn gnome causing confusion. Sarah B., who had to repaint her shutters because the color evoked agitation. And Monica, who got written up twice for having a hammock. A hammock. The HOA called for a full town forum. This time not in secret. They wanted transparency, and Brook Hollow showed up. Karen didn't. Her house stayed dark. Curtains drawn, porch empty. No clipboard on the railing. No glares from the window. She was still a resident, but now she was just that. A resident. And for the first time in years, people spoke without fear of a letter appearing on their doormat. I got invited to speak. I didn't want a grandstand, but I wanted closure. So I brought the flagpole from my old house. Not the one Karen snapped. That was in storage, still half bent. I planted it beside the podium. Tied a small sign to it. Private property, public voice. And then I spoke. You all know the video. You know the tow truck. You know the clipboard. But this was never about a car. It was about the line between enforcement and control. Between order and ownership. I moved here for the peace, and I'll fight for it again if I have to, but now, I don't think I'm fighting alone. Silence. Then applause. Not the kind people give at a concert. The kind they give when someone says exactly what they've been feeling, but didn't know how to say. Afterward, an older couple approached me. She fined us $400 for a solar light, the husband said. We were too scared to speak up, the wife added. We thought we were the only ones. You're not, I said. The board voted to revoke 89 of Karen's fines. Refunds issued. Apologies made. Policies rewritten. And Patricia? She didn't just become president. She became trusted. Then, one afternoon, something strange happened. Karen knocked on my door. No clipboard. Just her, in a simple gray cardigan. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, just less sharp. I came to apologize, she said. For what? All of it. She handed me an envelope. Inside, a printed copy of the apology she never sent. With a handwritten line at the bottom, I forgot what community meant. She paused. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just didn't want to disappear without saying it. I nodded. Thanks for coming. She turned to leave, then paused. You still drive that car? Every day. I still think it's ugly. Still think you need glasses. She actually smiled. A real one. That night, the neighbors gathered for a movie on the green. They played something light, animated. But when I parked my car nearby and plugged in the charger, people clapped. Not for me, not for the car, for what it meant. We should document this, Patricia said. I blinked. Document what? And the repair, the rewrite, the way this place gets better when we pay attention. It started with a newsletter. Old school, printed, folded by hand. But this one wasn't about pool hours or grass length. It was about people. Stories of neighbors, quotes from kids, photos of mailboxes painted in colors, not listed in any handbook, and nobody cared. They called it The Real Brook Hollow Bulletin. And then on the first cover, a blurry still from my doorbell cam, Karen, the tow truck, me, mid-sentence. Caption. The moment everything changed. Karen didn't vanish. She stayed, quiet mostly, kept to herself. But some Saturdays, I'd see her walking past the community garden. Once, she even brought her own gloves. Didn't ask for permission. No one stopped her. Sometimes change comes slow. Sometimes it shows up in gardening boots. As for me, I kept the Hyundai, got a new coat of wax, even added a magnetic sticker that said, "This vehicle survived an HOA war." Chloe thought it was hilarious. A few weeks later, I came home to something on my porch. No envelope, just an old clipboard. Karen's, empty now. On the back, written in Sharpie, you win. I hung it next to the doorbell cam. A trophy I never asked for, but one I'd earned. The HOA changed more than just its rules. It changed its people. Brenda opened a community grant for lawn art. Patricia created an HOA decency standard that basically boiled down to, don't be a jerk. And people lived lighter. One afternoon, I got a knock on the door. It was Don from the next block. Hey, he said, we're starting a block-wide documentary. Want in? About what? About what happens when one person stands up and the rest follow. We called it Rolling Footage, the HOA Revolution. Because sometimes all it takes to change a neighborhood is one camera, one quiet act of resistance, and a woman with a clipboard who finally ran out of power. The EV still charges every night. The footage is still saved. The porch light still clicks on when someone gets too close. But now, it's not for defense. It's for reminders that things break, people break, but sometimes the right pressure makes something stronger. The HOA still exists, but so does the community. This time balanced, watched, remembered, and rolling.